Hello, hi there. Welcome to Guiding Voice podcast series, The Guiding Voice for a Better Future. This podcast is to help professional students, IT employees, entrepreneurs to shape their careers. Dear listeners, in every episode, we interact with industry experts or academicians or coaches across the globe to drive some insightful conversations that will help our audience learn great things. Also, we share an interesting trivia or fun fact towards the end. Thank you for tuning in. This is Naveen and I'm with my co-host Sudhakar. So folks, there are numerous ways of discovering life, discovering self. So today we are going to discuss one of the most prominent methods, that is self-discovery using genetic brain profiling. And we are pleased to welcome Sri Ratnaswamy to our show.
With a strong motto of his life, to live life of choices and not of compulsions, Sri Ratnaswamy has a diverse professional and entrepreneurial experience. He worked for Amaravati Venkatesha Group of Companies, BRIT DAE Government of India, and also served as nuclear medicine technologist and radiation safety officer in hospitals. With 15 years of full-time director in charge of operations, marketing and network development for Thyrocare Technologies Limited, which is world's largest centralized diagnostic network. Acquiring wealth did not motivate Sri Ratnaswamy, so he took a decision to quit overnight and pursued serving the society at the age of 48 years. He is a founder and chief mentor at Midna Global Developing, which is a network of certified brain profiling counselors, consultants, and mentors with core themes as smart living. It focuses in teaching, coaching, earning, pairing, and parenting by helping human beings to explore, engage, excel, and experience the joy of life. And we are pleased to welcome Sri Ratnaswamy to our show today. Ratnaswamy ji, welcome to our show.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be amongst you, to be useful to the society and the globe around me. Thank you once again.
Okay, let us get started. Can we talk a bit about your life journey?
Yeah, sure. Every successful person or a person whose journey is worth discussing or looking at or inspiring always starts with a very challenging childhood. And it is good that we undergo challenges when we are very young. So I am born in a small village near Coimbatore, brought up by parents whose life was very wonderful during their childhood, but for some various reasons, the adulthood wasn't that comfortable or pleasant. So we went through challenges and that became the boon and that shaped our life. In fact, I am a believer that poverty teaches you something what a management institution cannot teach you. So I continue to believe that the poverty, the challenges of survival was a very, very important factor that shaped my life. So I would say my childhood wasn't really be something I remember very fondly. I don't remember. And I just focused on doing something for survival, and that helped me as well as my family. So my family consisted of 2 other brothers and a sister. So 4 of us, the only goal was to have a meal 3 times, and we were focusing only on survival. So most of our upbringing was meeting our ends and doing something in our life on our own. Having born in a family that was not really financially very strong, on the contrary, we belonged to the social status that was considered forward in the governmental records. So we did not get any support from the administration or what I call the government. So it was all the time that we had to do something to make our life on our own. So we did an education which is mostly to get a job, and then we got jobs. But in this part of the country, that jobs weren't enough to really say that we are doing something big. So we, all of us, moved towards the other side of the country, that is towards Mumbai. And we got jobs in central government organization, and we grew from strength to strength. And In 1996, the family decided to start a small business. Our expectations were we were getting salaries of 20,000 in 1990s. So our only goal was to get 20,000 a month, but from a business. So we started a small business thinking that if we can just replace our salary with an alternative income, we would be not doing any wrong decision in our life. So the decisions were made most of the time based on achieving something rather than are we in the right direction or not. So I continue to believe with my experience that either you should have a guidance or you should have a poverty. So one of them is enough for you to do something big in this planet. We cannot seek poverty, but we can seek guidance from others when we are not really having a desperation to survive in this planet. So I must say, and I am still continue to believe that poverty shaped us and it helped us to become something in life. And I'm very happy that the opportunities were rightly taken, and we are today, whatever we are today, small business that was started in 1996 has become the world's largest diagnostic laboratory with a market value of 5,000 crores. So from a village that was having a population of 50 families, where our monthly income was not even 500 rupees, today we can proudly say that we are able to provide services and employment to the people around. And the status, the quantum of achievement that as a family together we have achieved is something I'm very proud, and we are able to be useful to the planet. So to conclude, I would say Thyrocare is a miracle, and we are fortunate that the miracle was executed through this family or through us. That's what I all the time feel and would like to say towards whatever we are today.
Wow, 25 years to become the world's largest diagnostic center. Amazing.
And honestly, I'm getting goosebumps by hearing your life story. Very, very inspiring. Kudos to you. And we are really privileged to be having you as a guest on our show.
Yeah, thank you.
So, how did this Midna Global became the household name across the globe?
Yeah, I see there is a lot of similarities in the project, both the projects. I must say everybody is unique, and their life goals, the experience they are seeking in this planet are totally different sometimes. I belong to a family where poverty was the major criteria to work upon. But once the poverty was taken care, that means we started managing ourselves reasonably well. Then the individual choices became very prominent. This is one of the important messages I think for today's session is when your goal is only to survive, then your personal choices do not come into the foreground. The minute your stomach is half full or you are satisfied with your food, then you think about I want my ice cream. And dessert is always a choice. People don't eat desserts what everybody eats. Everybody has an individual requirement of dessert. So I would say when Thyrocare reached certain status, we all were fairly comfortable in terms of financial needs, in terms of personal achievements and there was something in front of us saying that all of you did a good job. And then the individual choices came. This is something I must admit, because though we are children of the same father and mother. In survival, we did not have any difference of opinion. But the minute some basic survival is met with, I would say the success came. So once we achieved something called success, then the satisfaction wasn't same for everyone. Then there were differences of opinion among the family members about what is that we should do next to get satisfaction. It's very, very important because you are all focusing on helping children and individuals to find their life goals and life purpose and all. It is very important that once the talent was applied and success was achieved, and the fourth point is very, very important, life, and that is the personality. That is the core of your being. Then somewhere I felt when the entire family was discussing about going to the next orbit, because in 1996 this was started, and in 2009 that family was discussing about going international. I said I want to go to local. So when the company was planning of expanding to the global, I was focusing on local because there was something in me that was telling, what is that you will do by going global? Let us do something locally. And if you without serving locally, it is not really motivating to go globally. So somewhere when they wanted to expand, I wanted to come inward. When they wanted to go outward, I wanted to come inward. And that is the time I felt, no, this is not something, this going outward is not something I'm very comfortable. I must look inward. That is where the beginning of self-discovery thought came in me. That means my focus was not outwardly, my focus turned into inwardly. I call this as U-turn in your life. So my life took a U-turn, and when people were talking about crores, I was talking about my core. The family was talking about crore, I was talking about my core. So my core was not longing for crores. So I decided I shouldn't persuade the crores, I should persuade my core. So I decided to, take a break. And I told them, anyhow, if you want to go to the public as a company, you need some shares to be given to outsiders. So I will relinquish my share in this company and I will want to go and do something different. So there were a lot of challenges in the family to agree with my viewpoint and all. But finally, I did what Buddha did, is without telling the family, I quit Mumbai and came to Coimbatore with an one-way ticket, and I did not want to take a return ticket. So as usual, a lot of emotional traumas and all, everything went through, but I was very particular about, I am not going towards crores, I will go towards core. So that's how I came out, in fact I should say jobless, but of course I was not in need of a desperate need of any profession or financial. I was very, very comfortable, and because I was looking for core in my life, I did not have any big ambitions other than going inward. So that is the time I still believe nature has a different plan for everyone, and we have to just go with that flow and you will reach your destination. So when I came out, in my mind, I have money, I must do some service. This is how my inner calling was. So I joined in Rotary and became a major donor and was serving with the projects of the Rotary Club. I don't know, nobody asked me to become major donor. Voluntarily, I paid my money and gave the proof to the club president. He was thrilled, surprised. 30 years of that club, no one had become major donor in that club. And I joined within 3 months, I just became the major donor. So I don't know, somehow I felt if you continue to give what you can, you will get more than what you expect to get it back. So nature is very, very fair in rewarding people, but it will happen only in the right time. We cannot beg for it. It will have to come very natural. So that was the time the president had this small project of analyzing individual human brains and able to guide others. But after talking to me, and because my background was with BARC research scientist and all, he felt maybe I will be able to do a better justice to this project. So he handed over this project, and believe me, that's all. We are now no more in touch with each other. I quit Rotary Club, so my connection with the Rotary Club disconnected, and I started doing service on my own because I felt somewhere I am not still in the place that I am meant to be. So nature took me out of Rotary Club the minute this project came to me, and this Midna, I can still say it was never born on any specific date. Like a child, it just conception took place and it grew, and somewhere we said, okay, this is the birthday for this project. So I would say even now, if somebody asked me when did you start this project, I would not be able to say the date because it was not something on a day it was started. It is something that came to me and I'm just going with the project. So Midna is something, it came to me. It's like a child, adopted child. Somebody felt that I am a better caretaker for the child. So I just took the child, and because the child was not physically born that point of time, and I really do not know how did it all started. But I can say this is the 9th year I am traveling with the project, and the best thing that is happening to this project is in ThyroCare, the tests are available for all the organs except brain. I don't know, it's just a coincidence or complementing journey, I do not know. I am just doing only one assessment or one test that is connected with the brain. So I somehow believe nature wanted us to be in diagnosing aspect of human beings. ThyroCare is taking care of all the tests other than the brain, and Midna is taking care of only one test, that is only taking care of the brain. So I believe we are blessed to be bestowed with the second project, and that project makes the completion of the service that we are able to give to the society. So if you take health as two segments, one is physical health, the other one is mental health. Midna is focusing on the mental aspect, the mind aspect of the health, whereas ThyroCare is focusing on the body aspect of the health or physical health. So I am still think that it is an extension of ThyroCare, though it might be looking like a second child of nature given to the family. The elder one has grown up very well. The younger one is just a budding small child. But I'm sure one day even this project will be global in nature. The aim of taking this project ahead is to have professionals across the globe who will use this small, very, very reliable technique called genetic brain profiling that will transform individuals, that will transform the society. I do believe without individual transformation or self-transformation, the global transformation or the social transformation will not be effectively executed. So we are now working on individual transformations. When a threshold level comes, when a critical mass is achieved, I think it will make a big impact in the society. And I would be thanking nature for choosing me, for giving me a thought to look inward and wait for the time to come and a small project would come. And I'm feeling so much blessed that I am building a small network of individuals, and I'm sure one day, not one Ratnaswamy, there will be thousands of Ratnaswamis with the same zeal and commitment. I think it will become a global project. So I would be very happy if that happens. Even if it doesn't happen, I will be still happy, because happiness should not be connected with what you achieve. It should become your life. That's my input on the question, Naveen.
Yeah, very inspiring thoughts, sir, and really motivated. And as you rightly mentioned, and I'm very, very optimistic about this initiative that is being driven by Midna will be global. And I'm sure there will be many people that will come forward and be part of this to change the face of the society, because this is something driven out of a purpose and without any commercial intent as such. And as you mentioned, nature will definitely support you. And thank you for amazing insights. And you have spent like 9 amazing years of handling the most complex thing in the world, which is the human brain. So can you briefly talk about the tool that you are using to do the brain profiling, which is the GBP or genetic brain profiling that you briefly touched upon?
Actually, as you rightly said, though we call human being, without brain, there is no human and there is no being. So we can replace human being with human brain or simply the brain. So we are our brain, and without our brain, we are not considered to be living in this planet. We may be existing as in some other form, but we are not growing as a nature's creation. So the 3 words that I preferred to use is that genetic and brain and profiling. We all know profiling means figuring out the specifications of any gadget or any product. That we call profiling. The detailed information about a service or a product, we call it as profiling. And genetic means we are in this planet for millions of years. In this planet we are, and whatever we are today is the outcome of our life that happened for so many centuries and before. So this is what we are having as of now in our brain, consists of a very important component contribution from our forefathers, like properties and assets, like how we inherit the materialistic assets and properties. Similarly, the genetic properties or the genetic information also we are being the outcome of our forefathers. So whatever we are today, a major contribution has come from the subconscious mind that is the outcome of our all the forefathers' experience is there in our subconscious mind. So I wanted to have that word very clearly, utilized or used is that genetic. So it is the genetic aspect of the brain that the details we are able to assess. Now, obviously, when we say genetic, the other one is acquired. So it is like my father gives me 1 crore. What I do with the 1 crore is what is acquired. It could become 1.1 crore or it could become 10 crores. So there is something called nature. I call it as genetic. And there is something called nurture. That is what we acquire. So something classwork, something homework, something teacher gives, something I get. So this is what I wanted to mean in the name when I thought of this name, genetic brain profile. Very, very interestingly, nature is producing, creating all the living beings in this planet, right from one cell organism to the trillion cell organism called human brain, from the one sense species to the 7 senses, or what we call 7 senses species, that is a human being. Everything is created with a certain design, certain inherent specifications that are embedded on the genetic material. Like nowadays, science says if you can do a DNA sequencing, you can find out what kind of health disorders you are likely to get in this birth. So similarly, every creation of nature is exhibiting some inherent information on the surface of the being. For example, if you go to a vegetable market, you want to buy the lady's finger, there is a knack, there is a technique, there is a method of identifying certain qualities in the lady's finger. Or if you are going to buy a race horse, what horse will be good enough to run in the race and produce the expected results? The expert in buying horses will know how to buy it. If you are buying a jackfruit, by just taking a look into the surface of the jackfruit, there are experts who can tell how many pieces would be there or how many seeds will be there and what will be their quality of taste. So nature naturally gives lot of hints, I would say tips, secrets on its surface. If you can study the surface, the inherent information you will be able to decode. This we have been telling even in our normal life. People used to say that in the beginning of the life itself, if you are able to observe, you can tell what the child is more likely to become. So it's all requiring some ability to understand. So I came to experience that the fingerprints are an indication of the architecture of the brain. See, brain has a structure. In the structure is weaved in a particular pattern. If you study the fingerprints, one is able to understand the pattern in which the brain structure is naturally created. Of course, the naturally created is created with the genetic material provided by our parents. So parents are providing the soil and a seed is getting into the soil and it blossoms. By understanding or by studying the soil, we are able to understand what this seed could become with the given soil. So genetic brain profiling gives an idea about what the plant would become by studying the combination of soil and the seed together. Because together a small plant is blossoming, and by studying the nature of the seed and the nature of the soil in which it is growing, we are able to understand whether it could become a coconut tree or a jackfruit tree or a mango tree, so that we can nurture the trees according to the need of the trees. And it is not that every tree needs a similar kind of nurturing or cultivating. So like a farmer who knows what this seed will become is able to rightly give the necessary air, the light, the water and the environment to blossom, so that the plant becomes the best performing plant. Only when you know how to nurture a plant, the outcome of the plant can be the maximum. Otherwise, it will be just a trial and error, and definitely we cannot expect the best in a trial and error environment. So genetic brain profiling is a method, a way of understanding what is the genetic brain architecture of human beings. Once you know the architecture, you will be able to understand what could be the outcome of this architecture. So we all know that every human being is unique, every human being is different. Please remember, other than human beings, all other species in the planet are unique in nature, but they are not different among themselves. You take any species other than human beings, there will be some uniqueness will be there in every species. But among the species, the variation will not be significant. Only when it comes to human being is unique also and different also. We are so much different that even the twins, even children who are what we call nowadays, who are manufactured in an infertility center by taking out the genetic material of a male and a female. Even if the test tube baby, if there are more than one baby, then definitely they can be totally different. So the biggest blessings of the human being is that we are different. So the experience of all other species and human beings can be totally different once we start celebrating the differences of human beings. The life could be so much joyful because it is like an entertainment. It's like a garden with different type of flowers. And if we are able to understand the differences and able to celebrate the differences, I think the whole human experience could be divine in nature, wow in nature, joy in nature. You can say any word you can put it, really wonderful. But because of the ignorance, we are all trying to make every human being similar, and in the process, we are totally missing the whole purpose of the human being to be in the highest level of neurological evolution. Human beings are so much fortunate to be in the highest level of evolution of the planet, where we are sitting at the top of the pyramid, but unfortunately, we are not knowing the power of the position in which we are bestowed with. This is something like you have got the iPhone 12 and you are still using it as a basic phone. That is the kind of living human beings most of the time going through. So nature has given us the secret. Nature has given us the script, but unfortunately, we are not focusing on understanding the script. It is like the question is given, the book is also given. Instead of looking into the book, we are just searching everywhere around the book and we are not getting the important aspect that is very easily that can be decoded or understood. So genetic brain profiling is a magical wand that is available to the human beings. But as I said, unfortunately, people are beating around the bush without knowing that the secret is there inside the bush. That's the very simplest way of putting the answer.
That is enlightening. And you mentioned about using this genetic brain profiling, we can clearly understand one's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, which is called a SWOT analysis.
Right.
And also it will help in figuring out ideal way of nurturing themselves, and at the same time understand why people are sometimes challenging to deal with. So maybe what we draw from this conversation is it might be the ultimate compass and a reliable GPS of human life.
Exactly.
So what are the challenges in attaining more? What next?
Right. There are 2-3 aspects of that. The first thing is this understanding of human beings have been there for centuries in this part of the world. You recall our books and all. When a child is born, somebody would say he will not be able to rule this country because of his genetic nature. So sometimes they will adopt another child or they will marry another lady and produce another child. So there has been traditionally, I would say, or for ages, the concept of one is able to understand the child's life purpose. Okay, that is something we have been practicing. So, but then because the science came from the West, where they believed everything must be proved, whatever is not proved is not to be relied on, is something human beings have been, I would say, brainwashed for the last few centuries at least. So the first challenge is, it is about human beings, and human beings cannot be science. Okay, human being is a combination of arts and science. They can think of like science, but when they apply, it will become odds. So human brain has two components, the left brain and the right brain. Right brain is odds and the left brain is science. When I say science, basis of mathematics, so I call it as mathematical science, and on the other side it is odds and the human emotions kind of thing is on the right side. So human civilization, the Eastern civilization, what I call India and this part of the world, we are all right-brained people for ages, and the Europeans and the westernized civilization has been like the left brain, looking for reduction, logic, machines, technology, applying mathematics. So glorification of mathematical science has been very, very powerful in the last few centuries. So the concept of understanding through the emotions, understanding through the mind from inner side has probably been slowly disappearing for quite some time. So again, it is coming back to using some tools to scientifically demonstrate the power, the reliability of the tool. So the first challenge is making people believe that this is the tool available, and for that a person has to go through the experience. Everyone more influenced by the Western civilization of science and scientific proof and all, though nothing in this planet is scientific, nothing in this planet is 100% agreeable to everyone. Even today there is a debate and people don't agree that the world, the planet Earth is in the shape of a spherical mass. No, people don't agree. So nothing in this planet is agreeable to everyone. So is the genetic brain profiling. So genetic brain profiling, people take more time to go through the experience, and then they want to apply to their children or propagate that experience or share that experience with others. So one first challenge is making people go through the experience, and it takes so much of time to create an awareness, and awareness leading to trying out, and the trying it out getting an enlightenment, and that enlightenment only is spreading the awareness and the experience to others. So the first one is, that is something, a challenge I would call it as. The second thing is, yes, you know about it, but how you people will reach you. Okay, yes, there is somebody Midna, there's a Midna, or this is a software, so I can give it to people. So how I will be able to reach this software to more people is something I call it as the geographical distribution of it. Thanks to the last 1 year pandemic and lockdown, the digital transformation, globalization with the digitalization is happening very, very bigger scale. That was one of the challenge which has been addressed fairly well. And now we are able to do a scan, and somebody in US is able to connect with us. We are asking them to buy some small scanner, and we are able to connect with remote sensing softwares and all, remote handling softwares. We are able to get the scan done, and on a Zoom or on a Skype we are able to counsel. So this second challenge has been addressed fairly well, and I think this is something I would say a very positive change that has happened in the last 1 year. And the third one is the expertise. All said and done, this concept is something personally, when it is done, it is making better impact. Okay, so the third component which is a challenge is, okay, I have understood myself, now you tell me what I have to do, what is my homework, how to execute that homework. The diagnosis part, the decoding part can be done sitting here. You can do a scan for somebody in South Africa, for the matter. In the last 1 year, we have almost reached globally. So when I named Midna Global, the idea was not going global, but to understand that the brain is a global concept. Okay, whether it is in my village or any other village in the planet, the human brains are working in the similar way. That means uniquely, differently able. So when I named Midna Global, the idea was not going about global. The concept was global, but I think nature has also supported us. Now the concept is gone global. Even the services have gone global. So the third challenge, which is I would say is the biggest challenge, that is yet to be conquered or a lot more to be done, is having professionals who are very, very good in communicating and making use of this information that you are getting to transform people. So I would say one is awareness, the second one is building the network, and the third one is competent professionals to convert these opportunities into a very effective outcomes. So that is something I think is the most challenging one, and I guess programs like this, ventures like yours, are making small dots connected, and it is definitely a very big task. I'm sure because the product and the services are 100% reliable, this will one day become the talk of the whole planet. Whether it will be done through Midna or not, I am not really worried. I would just want to live to see the concept going global. Whether it goes through Midna or any other source, I would really not mind about it. But such an easy opportunity available, and people are all groping in the dark. Everybody I see in the professional LinkedIn kind of a medium, people are all calling themselves as great coaches of the planet. All of them are theoretically speaking about it. They don't have such kind of tool to authenticate, to verify, to demonstrate what they are talking. Ikigai has been a concept started in Japan 100 years before. It is still a concept only. There is no tool available to decode, to figure out somebody's Ikigai. But there have been millions of coaches who are talking about Ikigai, but really they do not know how to figure out an Ikigai for themselves or for others. So instead of going through the suffering and learning, which was okay for 20th century and the 19th century, definitely for 21st century, people don't want to grow up in the dark. They are all so much interested in reaching their destinations at the earliest and achieve that self-realization. So self-discovery, if somebody has to go through, the easiest way is to go through a genetic brain profiling, but you need a competent professionals who understand the report very well and communicate. The only important point I would like to say at this juncture is the script, the divine script that is there in the fingerprints is like divine truth. No debate. There is no debate about the reliability of the script. But the biggest problem is our brain is not able to understand the 100% truth of the script. So all we need is people who can communicate the script in the best possible way. Today, even I continue to say in my counseling, the script is 100% reliable. If you are not 100% happy, then that fault, the deficiency is from the counseling person or the consultant or the mentor or the guide. So the problem is not with the script. The problem is with the individual who is communicating. That will come only with experience. Today, personally, I must have gone through 20,000 counselings. Obviously, the experience that I have gone through is something definitely on a very higher level. So to build more Ratnaswamis only, I am just working on. As long as the product is reliable, I think even without marketing, it will become global one day. But if more people join together, it can be made at the earliest possible. And I don't have any dreams in my life. I just want to share my knowledge to the maximum brains in this planet, and I want to die empty. I want to die empty. That means share whatever I have understood about this. Inscripting the script that the divine has given, the nature has given. Such a easier tool we have missed for years and years. We have missed. Thanks to the technology, now we can go global. We have a software. Reports can be generated. The scaling up of the assessment is not a problem. Scaling up of generating reports is not a problem. Scaling up the professionals competent enough to communicate. Because though this fingerprints analysis, what we have named it as genetic brain profiling, is there for almost 30 years, it is there existing. But because of not having competent consultants or counseling people, this has actually suffered immensely. So my focus is, when the product is such a wonderful, it is only that the brains that are going to talk about the product need some fine tuning. So many capable, competent people are there in the globe. It is a matter of time that we are able to connect with them, and that this will go like a wildfire. It will go. And there is something called 99 monkeys concept. If it spreads to 99th monkey, then it will become the global. It will just blast. So for me, the critical mass is achieving that number of 99th monkey. It could be 999th monkey, but some number I have to achieve. And once that is achieved, it will be really blossoming. It will just spread like a fire. And I think then nobody will be able to stop the enlightenment of the globe. Now, individual's enlightenment is not going to help unless otherwise it is reaching to a significant number. And without a social enlightenment or the global enlightenment, the understanding of human beings, the sufferings of the human beings could continue to be there. So, if we have to accept the differences in people, we must know what is the difference. No individual will accept others unless otherwise they understand why the other individual is differently thinking, not agreeing with my viewpoint. Once we understand, then there will be so much of positivity among human beings, and then only the collaborations will happen. Then only the Vasudeva Kutumbakam kind of a mindset will come. Then you will definitely accept that every individual is unique and different and awesome. So is I, so is everyone around. So the minute this kind of a mindset comes, I think the globe will be definitely a better place to live, better environment to, for the children to come and live in this planet. So to sum it up, unless you live in peace, resting in peace is not going to happen. And living in peace is only by accepting people. And to accept people, you should understand them. And human beings are having such a unique ability to understand. The other species do not have the cognitive ability. Only the human beings are having the cognitive ability, that is to understand. And with understanding, acceptance comes. With acceptance, peace comes. With peace, the whole life becomes joy. And we look forward for Mondays. No, we look forward every day to be a celebration. And that celebrations will come only when you don't have that so-called inferiority and the superiority kind of thought process. The minute we all realize that we are all equal, in a way we are equal, differently equal, I think the whole human expectations and experiences could be in a new dimension. That is what we call spiritual intelligence. So very interesting observation I have seen is that nowadays children are coming with high spiritual intelligence, or what we call the cosmic intelligence. That is, nature is providing. It's that the design itself is able to get a higher spiritual intelligence. So this will happen. Even if you don't do anything, this will happen. But by being awareful about it, by being proactive about it, we can make that experience pleasant experience. So we can reach the peace. After fighting also we can reach the peace. But without fighting also we can be in peace. So genetic brain profiling will help people to get enlightened with least suffering, or by accepting the differences of species around them. So this is such a simple tool. So it's a matter of how much time it takes to reach more people. And I'm just one small soldier in the army, but this definitely requires a big army. And the master, the leader is divine. I am not the master. I'm just a messenger. I need more messengers who believe, who to experience the faith, have a faith in this one, and you experience it. Unless otherwise you are not 100% agreeing and accepting this whole process, I think it will not really grow. So I'm just looking for a very committed, competent consultants, across the globe to ensure that this is experienced by everyone in the planet, irrespective of their age, the color, and the creed. So global brain analysis and understanding and accepting that we are like this. We need not fight to prove each one right or wrong. You are right in your own way. I am right in my own way. We can exist and coexist without really hurting each other. And to sum it up, human beings were very dependent in the previous centuries and all. They were very dependent. And now they are trying to become independent. Independence is not the solution. Interdependent is the solution. Because if we are seeking independence, then we will be living in Himalayas and in a cave only we can exist. But if this is a society, human beings will have to exist together. So from dependency, we are now chasing the independence without understanding interdependent is the ultimate goal of human beings. So genetic brain profiling will make people to accept independence is not my end point. Interdependence is my end point. Once you come to this one, that's called the cosmic intelligence or the what you call the global intelligence. And this helps people to understand that and move ahead with that understanding. Yes, Naveen.
Excellent. Great summary. So folks, this is the wonderful concept and a great opportunity to work with Ratnaswamy ji as consultants and partners with Midna Global. You will find Ratnaswamy ji's coordinates in our show notes. Ratnaswamy ji, thank you so much for joining us today. It is amazing to know more about Ikigai and the advantage that 21st century brought to us, that we don't need to live in theory, but we can use the existing tools and evolve that as a process. Thank you so much. It was great to talk to you about self-discovery using genetic brain profiling. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's my pleasure as well. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much again, Ratnaswamy ji, for your time and for all the amazing insights. And I'm sure Midna Global will be a revolution in the coming years. And I wish you guys all the very best.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Dear listeners, to know more about our speaker and the content, refer to the show notes and visit or follow us on social media. We are available on LinkedIn, Facebook, Insta, Twitter, Pinterest, and also on YouTube. Just search for The Guiding Voice and then follow, like, subscribe to us, and also please share within your network. In addition, please feel free to email us at The Guiding Voice for You. That is TheGuidingVoice 4 as a digit, U as a letter at gmail.com, or WhatsApp us on India number 9494587187, and we will be happy to collaborate with you.
Alright, Sudhakar, let's also talk about featuring our audience on this show.
Sure, Naveen. So guys, of late we have been receiving a lot of career guidance related questions from our regular listeners through YouTube, LinkedIn comments, WhatsApp, and email, and we are responding to them on one-on-one basis. Now, we are pleased to open up a new mode of interacting with you all while providing a chance to broadcast yourself. If you have any questions related to education, career guidance, or any specific IT function, just send your voice message through speakpipe.com/theguidingvoice. We will play your question in your own voice along with the answer, either from us or our expert panel in our future episodes. Hope you will utilize this wonderful opportunity.
Alright, so it brings us to the trivia segment of today's episode. And today's trivia is about the first ever social networking site. Folks, do you know when was the first social networking site launched and what was it? You may be thinking about Orkut or Facebook or something else, but let me reveal you the answer. GeoCities was the name of the first social networking site that was launched on the internet, and it was launched in the year 1994. Interesting, isn't it? Thank you for listening. There is more in store, folks. Stay tuned. Until next time, bye-bye. We are signing off.